Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaser King coming to you with week 5 of college football. Can you believe it's week 5 already? And I'll tell you, I'm very excited. If you watched my last video, you'll realize kind of how I do it and how I understand the changes that are being made from week 1, where you think teams are a certain way, to week 5, when now you realize a Michigan State's not that good, a Wisconsin, the freshman quarterback's okay. You know, they found a quarterback, maybe, I don't know. You start to realize Western Kentucky's not as good, or UCLA, they're still, Rosen's not lighting it up. Oregon's losing a few games, they're not as strong. Louisville's got this great quarterback, they're good. Clemson's maybe not as good. Florida State can't stop the wind. So as you start, the picture starts unfolding, now I can attack and go, okay, now I know for sure this team sucks or this team's good. Where before, I'm losing money on a Western Kentucky bet because I'm still in last year with Brandon Doherty, not in this year with whoever this new quarterback is, who is not as good. He doesn't, he's throwing for yards but not the touchdowns, too many interceptions. He doesn't score enough. You always look at a quarterback, touchdowns to interception ratio. Forget the yards, does he score? Does he put up 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions? That means he scores. That's the quarterback I want. Unless he's also like one of these, like South Florida, where the kid throws a little bit, but he runs in a lot of touchdowns. So you got to understand that too. All right, this week in college, I have a ton of games. I have 2 locks, possibly 4 locks. I could have 6 locks, but I'm not going to go that crazy on the locks. I want to be picky on the locks and make sure. What is a lock? A lock is a game I have extremely high confidence in. I'm going to want you to play it for more units. But as I explained in the last video, and I'll quickly explain it here in case some people don't watch sort of my master's version of how to gamble and bet on football and units and bankroll. Basically, if you have a $1,000 bankroll, you just want to bet $40, $50 on a few bets. And if they win, then you come back with a few more. But you don't want to have $800 bet on a $1,000 bankroll. You don't want to have a $500 bet on a $1,000 bankroll. You should be betting $30s, $40s, $50. And when I give you the game on my site, I'm giving you units. So if it's a 5-unit play, I'm saying 577, 7 units, 777, 11 units, and it just means it's a stronger play. So you might, if you're $1,000 bankroll, you're just going to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to play $50 and I'm going to grab his top strength. The 11-unit bet is what I'm not going to put 11 units on it. That's the strongest bet he's got. I'm going to put my 50 on that team, as opposed to a 5-unit play. Now, if you have more money, then you bet the 5-unit play smaller and the 7 and the 9. I'm trying to win every game, but when you have a game that's a little bit more risky because of the teams playing it, I like the game, but I don't want to make it, a high, unit play because of who they're playing. The spread makes the lock. Who they're playing makes the lock. That's what I'm trying to do. So I have so many games, I don't know how to pick. Let's go to Duke playing Virginia. Virginia, Duke is laying 4 to Virginia. The trend on this game, Virginia's a very strong road dog. This game's fairly even between Duke and Virginia. I got my concentration broken by the doorbell. Duke and Virginia are pretty even. The over-run on the game is 60. Let me go through the stats real quick of Duke and Virginia. Duke, where is it? Duke averages 28 a game on offense, 22 on defense. Virginia is 26 on offense and 32 on defense. Now again, it depends on who they played. Virginia's played Oregon, and they beat Central Michigan last week, and Duke's beat Notre Dame. And they had played Wake Forest and Notre Dame. So that was the most points they scored was against Notre Dame, where Virginia had played Oregon. So they played tough competition. They probably each played the high school team, Coastal Carolina or whatever, but you don't care about that. So what you're looking at is it's a pretty even matchup here, right? Duke's defense gives up 22, Virginia 32, but they played Oregon and then Central Michigan, and Duke has played Notre Dame, but Wake Forest who's not. So kind of the stats are a little bit distorted early on based on the schedule. Virginia won last year. Should be a very close game. I like Virginia and 10 points as the dog here. There's a trend on Virginia, and let me see if I got it. Let's see, Virginia as a road dog since 2013 is 11-2. And I think it's even bigger if I go back a few years. So that's what I'm looking for, the trends I use in the pros. It's a little bit harder in college because some teams, they graduate to players, so sometimes they're not a road dog, and then some years they are. But that's a pretty strong road dog, and I look for them. They have the BYU coach. They have a good quarterback. So I look at, they're a live dog. Duke, yeah, they put up 38 on Notre Dame, but is Notre Dame good? Or all of a sudden Notre Dame gives up 30 to Michigan State, who gets shut out by Wisconsin, and they give up 50 to Texas. All of a sudden Notre Dame looks like they don't have a defense. So therefore, that's how I look at that game, that Duke put it up on a kind of a weak defensive team. Virginia's got a better defense. So I just look at it as I think you can take the points. Virginia in 10, they're a very strong road dog, and I look for them to easily, they could win it outright. I don't think Duke, their main quarterback's out with an Achilles. Their backup came in, now he's getting experience, he's better, but I don't see Duke as the type of team that blows out, and I think Virginia, being a very good road dog, I think that'll be fine. So I like Virginia in the 10 there. All right, another game is Mississippi against Memphis. Ole Miss is laying 14.5. Now here's a method that I use. They're playing a revenge game. Memphis beat them last year with Paxton Lynch in Memphis. He's gone. Now I look at the stats on Memphis, and Memphis is it shows them as 51-9, but when you look at who they played, Memphis played a Bowling Green and some high school team, so they're not really playing good teams. What the hell's going on with this doorbell? Excuse me, I apologize. Memphis, when you look at the stats, didn't play anybody. They killed Bowling Green and they killed some little high school team. Mississippi, on the other hand, puts up 40 on Florida State, who we see doesn't really have a good defense this year, which is surprising. They played, Ole Miss played, this thing broke my concentration. They played Alabama and put up a 40 on them. And then last week they put up a 40 on Georgia. Here they're playing Memphis, who has nowhere the defense of those three teams. When you put up 43 on Alabama, you can score. I look at this game. I don't know if it's a high-scoring game or not. I think Ole Miss puts up 50, but I don't know what Memphis does. Because I don't know who Memphis is right now. They're not giving me a big enough script. They're giving me a Bowling Green win and a high school win. So they're not really playing anybody good, so I don't know if they're going to score a lot of points. I know Mississippi doesn't have a great defense, but I know they have a great offense, and I love Chad Kelly. And there you go. I got a great quarterback. I got a great coach. The defense is suspect, which I get, but they're at home. They're very strong as a home favorite, and it's a revenge game. So I know I got Mississippi's attention. And they've lost 2 games, the game to Alabama and Florida State. They can't afford to lose another one, so they will not. They're going to score, and they're scoring a lot. I'm only laying 8.5 here in a teaser, so I know they're going to put it on. So even if Memphis really can score, all I got to do is win by 10, and I don't think that'll be that difficult because Mississippi is not about to lay down, and I know Chad Kelly's playing. So that's what I look at because it's a revenge game. Now, you can't just play revenge games. Depends on who it is. I locked Alabama against Mississippi because it was a double revenge game. They'd beaten them 2 years in a row. So it becomes either it's a matchup problem. Like Ole Miss is a matchup problem with Alabama because Alabama has a hard time with a good quarterback because their secondary is a little bit weak and they're good at stopping the run and they're good at blitzing. So if you have a mobile quarterback and who can throw it and they got good receivers, it's a nightmare for Alabama. Look what Clemson did. Look what Ole Miss did. Look what A&M with Manziel did. So in this situation, Ole Miss can't afford to lose and a revenge game. I look for them to put up a lot of points. So I look at Ole Miss to they should blow them out. But again, here's the problem with college. Memphis hasn't played anybody. They could have Joe Montana at quarterback. You have no idea. They could have Joe Smith at quarterback. You don't really know. He's got good numbers, the quarterback. But again, it's against Bowling Green and the nobody. So you really have no idea what's going on there. So that's how I look at it. The over-under is 66.5. Ole Miss should put up at least 40 points, probably 50. I mean, they're putting up 40 against Alabama and Florida State. This should be a 50-point game for them. Probably go over, but because the spread's only 14.5 and I can lay 8.5, and I know Miss with the quarterback and they're pissed off on a revenge. They've lost 2 games, not because of their offense. I don't think Memphis will hurt their defense that much. Definitely like Mississippi laying 8.5 here. They should have no problem in this revenge game. And that's what I look at. Let's see, I got a couple of locks going. So those are that's your 2. Now I always look for the best games I like are games like a Mississippi where it's a high scoring team with a good quarterback playing a weaker team who not necessarily has that good of a quarterback. And that's what I look at the stats for. When you look at the quarterback stats, it shows you all the stats. So it shows you these guys that throw for 300 a game, like the guys at Texas Tech and Washington State, and then you have the guys who don't score at all. I mean, they throw for 120 yards. They have 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So you have those guys, and when you have those guys, that's what you want to take advantage. This explosive team against the weaker team. That's what the Nebraska lock last week was against Northwestern. Nebraska scores a lot. Northwestern had a weak quarterback. I knew Nebraska would score 20, 30 points, and there's no way Northwestern could keep up. And the spread made the lock. If Nebraska was laying 20 and I had to lay 14, I'm not going to lock it. But it's 7 or 8 and I'm laying 1 or 2, and all I got to do is win. That's the lock. So the spread makes the lock, but you're looking for the dominant team against the non-dominant team, or you're looking for a live dog that they should win the game and they're getting points. That's what I was hoping for with Ohio State, Oklahoma. I was hoping Oklahoma would be the favorite because I knew Ohio State was a live dog there. The spread was 1. I took Ohio State +5, very strong in multiple teasers. But had Oklahoma been the 3-point favorite, I'd have bet everything on Ohio State +9 because they weren't going to lose, and they certainly weren't going to lose by more than a touchdown. So there's your play. Take Virginia plus the 10 with Ole Miss laying 8.5, and that's probably about a 7-unit play. So it's pretty strong. It's not, a lock would be like at least a 9 or 11 unit play. It's about a 7 unit play. So, you know, if you got $1,000, you probably want to put like $50 on that teaser, somewhere along that. If you're a bigger player, whatever your, I don't know, 5 unit play would be. If you're $100 a unit, probably put $300-400 on it, somewhere around that. Anyway, good luck. It's going to be a big week. I got a lot of good games and a lot of locks and strong plays in college and in the pros this week. Like I said, college I have pretty much figured out, because now I got the stats in, not the high school stats when they play Presbyterian. Now they're playing regular games, and you've got a picture of who's playing and how good they are. Now I can attack. So look out from here on in. I'll be red hot. All right, everybody. www.teaserking.com. This is the week to buy. Definitely can feel it, and I see good matchups. Some weeks there's not good matchups, and you can't just force the plays. But some weeks here there's good matchups all over the board. All right, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Definitely, you want to buy this week. Absolutely.